We walk past public property every single day. A park bench, a water fountain, a streetlight, and we probably don't give it a second thought. But what happens when it's destroyed? Who really pays the price for that? Well, as we're about to see, the cost can be way more personal than you'd ever imagine. So picture a city like Vadodara. You've got these beautiful benches lining the riverfront, just perfect for sitting and watching the world go by. In the public gardens, there are taps for a cool drink of water, and at night, streetlights keep everything safe and bright. These things aren't just stuff. They're part of the fabric of daily life, a real source of comfort and pride for the whole community. And that really brings us to the big question here. When you look at these things, what do you actually see? Is it just some generic public facility? Or is it something that, in a very real way, belongs to you? As you'll see, how you answer that question, well, it changes everything. Okay, so let's zoom in on one particular night in this city. A night where a few thoughtless moments, just seen as a joke, ended up setting a real tragedy in motion. Here's what went down. A few young people decided to steal the wooden planks right off a public bench. Then, for fun, they broke a public water tap. And to top it all off, they started throwing stones at a streetlight until it smashed, plunging that whole area into darkness. Just 3 separate acts of totally mindless destruction. So you have to ask, what's the justification? Well, it's a mindset that's alarmingly common, and it's this. This is government property. Who cares? It shows a complete and utter disconnect, this belief that these things don't really belong to anyone, so it doesn't matter what happens to them. And this is where our story gets really personal. This is where we meet Ratan Kaka, a man whose life was about to be completely turned upside down by these seemingly random acts of vandalism. Ratan Kaka is 70 years old, and every single evening he has a routine. He goes to his favorite spot to sit on a particular iron bench just to rest a little and chat with his friends. It's a simple pleasure, but it's the highlight of his day. But on this night, a horrible chain reaction started. First, Ratanka arrived and found his bench was broken, so he had to sit on the hard, uncomfortable ground. After a while, the heat got to him, he got thirsty, but when he went to get some water, the tap was broken. He started to feel dizzy, dehydrated, and then he collapsed. And because that streetlight was smashed, the entire area was pitch black. No one saw him fall. No one was there to help. It's awful. He wasn't found until the next morning by a sanitation worker who was just starting their shift. By that point, he was in critical condition, suffering from severe dehydration, all because of one night's stupid joke. But wait, the story doesn't end there. There is one more deeply personal twist to all of this, and honestly, it's a gut punch. The connection between the vandals and the victim was closer than anyone could have ever guessed. It turns out, one of the people responsible for breaking that bench was Ratan Kaka's very own grandson. And this is the absolute crucial part. The grandson had no idea who he was hurting. None. In his mind, he was just messing around, damaging some faceless government property. He never, for a second, imagined that this exact bench was a daily lifeline for his own grandfather. So, a tragic story like this, it just forces you to stop and reevaluate everything, doesn't it? It makes you ask that really fundamental question again. What does public property actually mean? Okay, so this is the absolute key. Let's really define this. Public property is not some unknown, ownerless object that just magically appears. It's built with money from your taxes. It's created for the convenience and safety of your family. So let's just break this down side by side. The myth is that it's all just government stuff, some anonymous, ownerless thing out there. But the reality, it is our property. It's paid for with our tax money, and it's there to serve our families and our communities. And when you start to frame it like that, when you really get it, protecting these spaces becomes something so much more meaningful. It's not just a nice thing to do, it's a fundamental civic duty. The source material puts this so perfectly, so directly. The water from the tap you break is the water you will lack tomorrow. I mean, it doesn't get any clearer than that. It's a simple, undeniable equation of cause and effect. So the real takeaway here is this. These are not victimless crimes, not even close. Actions like vandalism have direct and sometimes absolutely devastating consequences, not for some abstract idea of the government, but for your neighbors, for your community, and, as we saw, maybe even for your own family. And that leaves us with one last, pretty sobering question to really think about. The next time you see a broken light or a smashed bench, remember Ratan Kaka's story. The light you break, could it be your own family trapped in that darkness?
एक कदम विकसित भारत की ओर।